Hey everybody, this is Davis over at Con Freaks and Geeks, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Pop Culture Gems. This is a series where we talk to amazing creators, artists, cosplayers, voice actors, and more. If you want to check out more of the series, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the CFG channel, or you could listen to us on any podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, what have you. If you want to check out all the fantastic geeky content in one area, you can always check us out on our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, for the whole package. My guests this episode are video game creators, and once again, these creators are one of the creators of the hit indie game Shovel Knight, and is making a new game coming soon, Cyber Shadow, here hopefully in the end of this year. So they're both also founders of the studio Yacht Club Games. So I would like to welcome you, Sean Velasco and Nick Wozniak, to the show. How are y'all doing today?
Doing pretty good. Yeah,
Hey.
all things considered.
Yeah, hanging out at home.
Yes.
Yeah, many of us are.
Yeah, I know, right? It's actually funny. Every time in the conversation when you have to say how you doing, it's like, you got to say, given the circumstances,
Right.
Yeah,
All
that's
things
cool.
Considered, we're doing okay.
That's good. That's good. And why don't y'all introduce yourselves? Like, who are you people if they're not familiar with you?
Sure. I can go first, Sean, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
My name is Nick Wozniak. I do pixel art and animation, and that's most of what my role was on Shovel Knight. And right now, I'm doing work on a new project that we haven't announced yet, but that's
That's cool.
And I'm Sean Velasco, and I'm a game designer, and I was a designer and director on Shovel Knight. And we're original Yacht Club guys. Before that, we worked at a place called Way Forward. We've been making games for quite a while now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. And I mean, if y'all been playing, obviously, would y'all consider yourselves like retro OG gamers?
I mean, I guess I would consider it like I just like voraciously consume games and have since I was a kid. So yes,
Right.
and yes.
Although I see people say like retro OG gaming, like Minecraft. like when I was a kid, 10 years ago, right? And so the what's retro on the scale just keeps getting.
You were mentioning like
keeps
Roblox yesterday. I'm like,
right,
I don't even know what Roblox is.
Right. It's like you have this blind spot for it, I think. But like all the kids of today are like all playing Roblox, and 10 years from now, Roblox is going to inform so much of like what's happening in games. I bet, just like because of being adjacent to so many
the way
people.
That Mario did, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we're becoming fossilized, man. Like with Super Mario Bros. The original, as opposed to new Super Mario Bros. Or like Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, Galaxies now. Or what's it called? The new one. I can't even remember the top of my head, but
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Yeah. So I mean, but I guess I didn't even really think of it that way. I guess since we're around, I'm assuming we're around the same age. So it's like when I think of OG, I'm thinking like 80s and stuff. But you're right. That's like 40. That was 40 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
oh man.
My time period is around right around the 1987, 88, 89, right? Like I'm 37. And so when I was coming up, yeah, it like NES was released, but I had already missed like Mario 1 and like those early NES games. The games that were coming out were like Zelda 2, Mario 2, and you could see that those like that kind of stuff directly influenced Shovel Knight. If it was only a couple of years earlier, maybe it would be more like a Zelda 1.
that is true. But yeah, I'm actually the same age as you. So like it's like I was introduced to like Super Mario Brothers and stuff, like not the original Mario Brothers and stuff. So I definitely understand that. When you actually when or if you actually have time, what kind of games do you normally gravitate to?
Oh, that's a good question. It's really for me up to my whim, and like what I was interested in. Like usually, what it is I was interested in a game like 6 months ago, and didn't get around to playing it because I was playing the last game or doing something else, and then it's like, oh, I should go back and play it. Like I just recently played Subnautica for the first time, like I don't know, like a month ago, and like that game's been out and was in early access for years, but that I loved it. I had a great time playing it. But that's like how I just play games. I like to play games like pretty consistently, but I'm usually just like behind the curve by a few months.
Right. Well, quarantine has really helped me eat into my backlog a lot more as well. Like over the course of quarantine, I went through Subnautica, and I finished Final Fantasy 15. We just finished The Last of Us 2. I played Bayonetta the original over again.
Oh wow.
I've been playing a million hours of Path of Exile, which was a game that I didn't even like know what it was. And then we were playing like Diablos online, and it was like, oh yeah, but you should try Path of Exile. That's like a Diablo, but it's a little different. I went down the rabbit hole. I got sucked into Path of Exile.
Man, if you're getting into Path of Exile, yeah, you definitely there's like a hole in Diablo that was left, and you're like, I need some more Diablo, but definitely. I don't want to play Diablo right now, you know?
Yeah. It's there's so many weird things with that game. Like it's very much like playing like World of Warcraft, where you get sucked into going to websites and reading wikis and perfecting your build and trading with other players, and it's just like, yeah, I just really went down the rabbit hole.
I can never understand the season pass thing. What doesn't make sense to me is like, how do you it's a season of you building up your one character, and then when it's the end of the season, you have to start all over again. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. That's just too much work.
Well, no, I think that personally, for me, I guess that's like very freeing. I love the idea of like, I'm doing harvest season right now, and one of the best parts about it is that I know soon it's going to be like done, and we'll all get our rankings, and it'll be like, here's how your build went. All of the regrets I have about like, oh, I put too many points into my health or my mana, that's going to be like just ensconced in history, as opposed to something that I would like have to keep living with. It's telling me, hey, it's okay, you can stop now. And that's like for a game like Path of Exile, it's like very liberating. And then if you want to jump into the next one, you can with all
that is a good point.
Yeah.
You know, that is a good point. Or play with a friend, or like, hey, you got to play this game, and instead of you being like super uber god, then you could be like kind of like somewhat the same foothold, you know.
Right.
But no, you're more of a man than I am to play that game, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm an elementalist now.
Oh, dude, that's cool. That's cool.
That's all I am.
All right. Well, playing old school games and stuff, like, I mean, well, old school, I guess, in relation to, like, 80s, 90ish and stuff.
Right.
You know how some of those games are just like ridiculously difficult to be hard. You know, is there a game that you beat, like you felt that you said, I can't believe I finished this or anything? Because, like, I mean, for me, I think one of them was like Simon's Curse. I was like, Castlevania 3, and I was like, I don't know how the hell I just went through all this and just was able to do this stuff, you know?
Yeah, the ending of Castlevania 3, where it's like those blocks, randomly generated blocks, are falling down, and you gotta navigate and then climb on top of them. It's like you're right. It just feels like, I mean, it is random, I think, and there's so many weird difficulty spikes in that game. But that's like one of my favorites. Ian Flood, programmer at the Yacht Club, is like Castlevania 3.
Oh, really?
It's like in his brain. Yeah, I think all of us, right? Like, there's so many good things from that game, from the sub weapons to those like secondary characters to the graphics and the music, and it even has 2 different versions with like with the sound. Like there's like stuff to get excited about, like the details. Love me some Castlevania 3.
Man, I just can't believe. Well, sometimes, like, I mean, I like hard games. Don't get me wrong, but like, I like hard games that are fair. So I mean, sometimes sometimes those games
can, like, get around the difficulty in some ways. I think that's like what makes Dark Souls really appealing for like this generation, is that it's like it's hard and it's really like difficult, but like you can just level up and you can like focus on like other things to make yourself better, to like get around the difficulty, which is sort of like a convenience that's more of a modern take on difficulty. I like the older games that are hard, but yeah, sometimes I just want to like,
you like want to just like throw the controller out the window, because it's like, I mean, games, there's like there's like, especially like if you hit something, then they give you that 2-step like that jump back that makes you pop past what your platform and stuff is, or infinite spots. Like, that's what really killed me. And then when I was talking to another person previously about it, and he was like saying like like there was times where since there was no save points or there was nothing that you could do, you have to leave the system on, and you like leave it on for days on end, and then come right back to it. I'm just like, nah.
That's like, I
a
mean,
level of
that's like
convenience is nice.
that's what that I think is largely what they're recreating in roguelikes nowadays, right? It's
Mhm.
like it's a game that's like an NES game or something where it's like it's only one run, you have to perfect it. It's really super difficult. When I think about games that are impossible, and it's like I can't believe I did it. I think about Spelunky. It's like
Yeah.
which
Oh
we
God,
we
yeah.
which we've been playing a little bit this week, and like get just the in order to get to the end of Spelunky, the true end, you need to perform these special actions in every world. You got to get an item in every world and do something crazy, and then just the amount of luck even that you need to get through that run, or just the amount of fortuitousness of oh, the spikes hit me, but instead of falling in the lava, I got to recover over on the side
Wow.
just to save myself. It's like, I don't know. There's so much crazy difficulty and so much to learn in that
Mm.
game. But I think
Yeah.
that's it's a lot of games like that, difficult games. You you get that level of perfection, and like that's what I don't know. That's what keeps me coming back. It's
Oh,
like
that.
even if it's crazy difficult because you feel like you've gained some mastery over that character. So it's like Spelunky, a game that I played for 100 hours. Like I've only beaten King Yama like once.
Wow.
Yeah, I've
I didn't
never.
play that game again. Yeah, I kind of quit on that game. I was like, I'll play this next time. It's been almost 10 years. So we'll see.
Spelunky 2 should be coming out this year, so you could,
Yeah.
yeah, you could get into that one. I'm so
That
excited.
is true. I can't wait till that. Yeah, that game was fun. You're totally right. Man, you kind of make me want to play the original one. You're right, but
Yeah, you can
all
do it
right.
on Steam Remote Play, and that
That's how we
works
played it. Yeah,
amazingly.
it was
We
really,
played it.
really,
Yeah,
really good.
we got to Olmec. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to the first boss guy.
Is
So that's
is
actually
remote
really
play the
good.
one that allows you to play with multiple like multiplayer, multiplayer, but like like kind of virtually, like second
Yes.
players comes in virtually?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
it's over Steam, so you can just like
Never
uh,
tried it on Steam. That's pretty cool.
it was really surprising because Spelunky is not a multiplayer online game.
Mhm.
So it's like Woz was streaming, or like we were streaming video and I could play it, and that's a game that requires like very very precise Twitch input, and it worked
Mhm.
perfectly.
Yeah.
It was like
Hmm.
really really cool. So Steam
Yeah.
Remote
Just
Play,
forget about it.
there's
Yeah.
our ad for that.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Valve.
Yeah, they're right. Give you money for Valve
Right.
sponsorship right there. All right. Well, could okay. Well, like, could you tell us how y'all got the idea originally of Shovel Knight initially, and what it took to get off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, we were wanting to do a game ourselves. We had been like working together, sort of, doing moonlighting on our own to do other stuff while we were at Way Forward. And the idea to do Shovel Knight really spawned from like it's our ability to do something as like a 5-person team. We wanted to be able to like have one person do all the art, have like two people do um the programming, like another person for concept and like one person for design. And like we didn't want to hire up a big team, and so
Right.
to
Or
keep
like
things lean.
freelancers.
Oh yeah, or
We
like
wanted to like
freelancing.
keep it
Yeah,
all internal.
yeah,
Mm,
and the stuff we were working on before, before Shovel Knight, we had like a very brief project, and it was requiring freelancing, and it was requiring like a lot of external stuff, and especially for the in-game pixel art. And so, um, yeah, we just took a step back and like, hey, let's actually figure out a way to make mechanics centered around one thing, and that kind of led to the shovel. And it was a goal of like making something viable for us as a small crew.
Right.
mm,
It was like, what could we get excited about that we could make and that we're capable of doing? What uses our skills to the best of to the best of their abilities? So
Right.
it's like we had a lot of experience working a way forward, doing licensed games and turning stuff out like really quickly, having to work on a lot of games at once, having to go between a lot of styles and a lot of genres, and so I think that gave us a certain um, like efficiency to what we were
mm,
doing, and then
mhm,
we just tried to think about it like that, right? And because Kickstarter was a thing that was happening like right then, like Double Fine Adventure had kicked off the whole Kickstarter thing. We were trying to think about something that we could show off that would look good, that was understandable, that we understood, that we thought we could get everyone excited about. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Shovel Knight was definitely based on mechanics, like Woz was saying. It was like the shovel was born out of a desire to have a down thrusting motion like Zelda 2, as well as having like a flipping over an attack to destroy blocks or to flip enemies over. And so we put it all together, and it was like, okay, this is a shovel, and why not? Why not call it? Why not make it? Why not make it Shovel Knight? Because that's like that's like descriptive. And I remember Jin was he was like maybe like Plummet Knight, or because he like down maybe like Plummet Knight. Shovel Knight's like too. Maybe not Shovel Knight. That's like too silly.
That's so cool.
We're like, well, we'll make more knights. We'll make it like the 8 knights, like the robot masters, and we'll try to have a structure like that because that's something that we like and that makes sense to us. So
kind of like a Mega Man like too, with the bosses around, and then you had to fight the main one at the end as well.
Yeah, all that structure, and even things like the way the screen scrolls and the going up and down ladders and all that stuff is like very rooted in our love of Mega Man.
That's pretty cool. And and I know, like, Kickstarter now is a lot different than Kickstarter was back in when y'all did it back in 2013. But like, what were some of the trials and tribulations that y'all went through campaigning for this ambitious project?
I mean, the campaign seems to never end. I feel like we're still like campaigning for it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just like when we initially went and pitched the Kickstarter, it was us not knowing what we were doing and not knowing if like this was going to work. It was all like really untested, and in terms of like just that method of getting funding. And so a lot of the like uncertainty at the beginning was just like, we just got to do it and see if it works. And it worked out. It could have not worked out, but
definitely. We're like, if the Kickstarter fails, then maybe we could like go to a publisher, right? Because that's like a common model. It's like, we'll go to a publisher, and then they can help fund our project, and we could put it out like that. Or God forbid, we'd have to go and do more licensed games or something. But like, maybe we could figure it all out and do this Kickstarter. We talked to other people that did Kickstarters and tried to plan it out. Tried to plan out giving regular updates. We had our Kickstarter campaign coincide with PAX 2013. And so because we wanted to show the game off, we wanted to get press, and we knew probably just being on Kickstarter alone would not be enough. So we had it coincide with PAX to try and get more eyes on it. And it also gave us a good goal of like, we got to rush to get it done for PAX, and it has to be showable to people at PAX. That means that we have to have like a very strong vertical slice of the game, which is good. That's like good as an internal milestone also. Like when you're developing games, a lot of times you could kind of like meander around, and you're working over here and you're working over here. It's easy to lose sight of what the player is going to think because you're so in it every day. But going to PAX it's like a wake up call, right? It's like splashing water in your face. But if you plan for it, then it can make your game a lot better. So I think that having that goal helped Shovel Knight become a lot better, a lot faster, just because like we had to. And then after that, people got excited from PAX, and we started to get bigger Kickstarter days. YouTube, the YouTuber thing, which like was totally new to me in 2013, right? Like I never watched like people playing games on YouTube really. I was like, YouTube, what? This like the game grumps. What? Who? But we learned about everyone, and met a lot of cool people, and it got lifted up from 100 different sources. We started doing bigger days in our Kickstarter. And then,
so would you say specifically like throughout the Kickstarter campaign, because I mean, like you said, you were going when did y'all have like a playable demo back in PAX 2013 for Shovel Knight originally, and then
for PAX, not that people could play online.
Okay.
Making a demo for this kind of game really doesn't make sense, we felt. So
oh well, yeah, most definitely, especially since it was y'all literally were coming out of nowhere. There was no like background of what this was originally.
Well, and the
right?
demo was also like like all the ideas are kind of there but not totally like working together, and it's not as focused, and so a demo can like really shine poorly on and if you're like ready to sit down and play it 10 times, because if you're really excited for a game, like you'll play the demo a bunch of times. I know I did that with like um what was it? That was Smash Brothers. When they had the demo out for 3DS, I mean, we just like played that over and over again. And it's like, even Smash Brothers like still kind of felt crappy because it was like the same 5 characters. It was like tiny and like they hadn't figured out everything. So it was like a really well polished demo even can like show poorly. So,
but it just seems like well, if y'all showed something on the game like back in 13 that kind of raised the wildfire, because I mean the amount of money that y'all got for the first initial for Shovel Knight was unheard of for its time, and it was amazing.
I mean, it was big. Yeah, that was like a big deal for us just because, and for just Kickstarter in general. We that was partly due to like Sean was saying, it's like YouTubers doing Kickstarter games was sort of like a new thing, and so we were fortunate enough to like jump in when like that was still allowed. Like we got coverage on news sites, and then like a month later people those same news sites were like, we're not covering Kickstarters anymore.
No more Kickstarters. No more There's too many.
So like we got in like right before everyone jumped off the cliff of like no more Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think
and so it was very precarious, but like very fortunate for us.
Yeah. When you do a Kickstarter now, it's like I'm not even sure, right? Like like I'm not sure how, like we're talking about how Kickstarter is different now from it was in 2013. It's like I am not even sure how you would approach a project now. It seems like occasionally a game comes out and still manages to capture the popular attention.
But usually it's like a sequel, or like it has like some founding, like it's like a reboot of 30-year-old game X. It's like that. It's just it's a no name coming out of nowhere. I feel like
it's like I've always been kind of on the wall with Kickstarter when it came to that, because I really wasn't a big fan. Like I think when Yu Suzuki announced Shenmue 3 to be a Kickstarter project, but at the same time he was getting money from Sony to do it, I was just like, what? Like that kind of defeats the purpose of like having a Kickstarter. You're just basically like having the masses help you produce something that you know you're getting funding from an opposite side. So like I mean it kind of puts like indies kind of in a bad rap in my mind with it. But but no, you're totally right. I think like now you have to have a name to back yourself, because I don't think that it would be really rare to see the kind of level of success in which y'all had now than when it was than what y'all had in 2013. And I mean, but that's it's awesome. I'm really glad that it definitely worked.
We're happy about it too.
If you had I think if you had a game that had a really cool premise, even if you were an unknown, if your game looked really good, you could probably still get a lot of backing for it.
Yeah.
If it was like, whoa, this gameplay, like a gameplay premise that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough
It's
one.
really tough to say. Tough in the end. And me from playing Shovel Knight from the Shovel Knight series, it is clearly a love letter to retro games of past. Like what games inspired you to make Shovel Knight? Like what were the games that inspired you to make the Shovel Knight itself?
I mean, honestly, it's been like a long time since we've been doing Shovel Knight, so it's like I know like the answers, but like I'm still thinking about the games that we're currently working on, and like thinking of like, I don't think that those inspirations have changed much. There's like a lot of Mega Man. There's a lot of like the games that we play throughout since then. Zelda 2 originally, but like since then we're still thinking about Mega Man. We're still thinking about like Ninja Gaiden and like games of those era. Like Spectre Knight was Ninja Gaiden, heavily influenced. King Knight, we're thinking about a lot about like Mario World stuff.
Mario and Wario.
Yeah.
We're often thinking about Zelda. Zelda items and economies and characters. We're like Castlevania is always right at the forefront. Dark Souls was a really big one in 2013, but I think now it's kind of like tapered off a little bit. We're like, oh yeah, we'll put a Dark Souls mechanic in. You could collect your gold back, but that almost feels like a little antiquated now.
That's pretty done.
Yeah, and then I don't know. There's so many. I think when we're talking about being retro OG gamers, like I think there's so much stuff that's just implanted in our brains that you don't even think about, right? It's like
Right.
it's like draw a I don't know. It's like draw a dragon, and then I'll like draw the Mega Man 2 dragon. It's like, oh, that's like a Rorschach. It's like a Rorschach test, right?
Yeah.
And so like because it's just like so crafted into our DNA, I think a lot of times we'll just put up something that feels similar to maybe something that is like in that big nostalgia stew, without even realizing it.
Yeah, and it's like it comes down to like even like the basics. Like it's like, hey, how many tiles wide should this be? Nobody thinks like, what's a tile? Like everyone's already like ready for it to be 16 pixels wide, and it's like, hey, what, like, this is the character, is what are their proportions going to be, and everybody already knows, like, in our heads, like the proportions are going to be like probably two
like
heads
a
tall,
box.
and maybe a box. It's like what these questions don't even occur to us anymore, because like Sean is saying, like we live in that stew forever, so it's just like the result of us just internalizing all of that.
You got to be careful too, right? Because you get tunnel vision.
But why don't we do 10 pixel wide tiles?
Well, I mean, that's why we've got. I mean, the team has like doubled in size in the past year, right? Because we've been scaling up because we're working on 2 projects now, and yeah, that's known. That is known. Be really hard.
What they are is not
to not talk about all this stuff. But having so many new people also is like really giving a ton of new perspectives, and that's like really helping to keep stuff fresh. So it's good. Cool. Yeah, it's a good stew to keep.
That's awesome.
Stew analogy is like only because it's like getting closer to lunchtime.
All right, and from an idea to realization, Shovel Knight has put a giant stamp in the gaming industry. I mean, itself alone. I mean, for how big it's gotten in such a short period of time. Like, I mean, it helped grows people's and I think it also kind of helped people's views in indie gaming as well, like as a whole, in itself. Like, how did it make you feel 6 years later with over like 2 million copies sold that Shovel Knight is the success it is today?
I hate it. It's the worst.
Wow.
No, I just think I think I'm really, really fortunate, and I'm very happy that like our vision was appreciated, and like people heard what we had to say, and I'm very thankful that we were like privileged and fortunate enough to like be in the positions we were at to like make that happen.
Right. That people continue to people continue to basically fund our creative endeavors to make like it's like we're going to promise to you that we're going to make something in a specific a little specific but like kind of vague, and people are on board for it still. And like 6 years later, it feels great. And it
feels like people trust us, and it's nice.
Well, I mean, you don't. I mean, like I don't see how people wouldn't trust y'all, because the way that y'all I mean, throughout that whole process, when y'all made the treasure trove, all that stuff, y'all been pretty like really well hands on what the community has been wanting or have been wanting to see and stuff like that. Like, y'all been very on top of it, and then like. And and just the simple things, like when you're saying like if you got the original ones and stuff, you get it for free, and things like that. Like, I mean, that goes a long way, especially as a developer. When you hear like all like what people, when you think of developers wanting more money or they're wanting to do kind of things, like y'all, it's like y'all kind of not cut in the same kind of thread when it comes to that kind of deal. So no, I mean, so I think some of the credit really goes to how y'all's views are towards the gamers as well. So that, I mean, that's
definitely an obligation that we feel like to not let anyone down, and like with those like promises that we made, we felt like that was like, it never crossed our mind that like we would just like go back on that, right? And no, there was never a conversation where we were like, hey, let's just pretend we didn't say that, and sort of steer the message away from fulfilling our promises.
It feels like with all of this great I guess, but I don't want to say with great power comes great responsibility. But I was like, I was like trying to figure out how to not say it. But it's like with all of the power that we've been given by our fans, with the resources that we have to be able to make something, I feel like I think we all feel like we have to do right by that.
Yeah,
And
definitely empowered by the people that like our fans.
Right. And so it's like that's what we set out to do, to keep making fun, creative stuff that people are going to like, and maybe even giving people something that they don't even know they want, but hopefully they do. But we take that stuff really seriously. So
yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. And let's talk a little bit about Cyber Shadow itself, because like
Sure.
there's very little bit about it, but like the next upcoming title, that's our next upcoming title that's slated for this year, right? Later this year. Okay, cool. So and it still has that 8-bit pixelated feel that we all know and love from y'all. Like so, but I just kind of wanted to get some more information. Like, what is like Cyber Shadow, and what should we expect?
Yeah.
Do you want to go? Sorry, do you want
to go? Cyber Shadow, yeah, it's another kind of dip into the 8-bit nostalgia, and really doing a game that does that action genre well. It is something that we aren't doing ourselves, like we're publishing it, but we're coming alongside Arne Hunziker to kind of help make the game as great as it is, and to really hit those feels of like playing as a sci-fi dystopian future, playing with the ninjas and there's robots and
that ninja
all
action,
kinds of
right?
ninja action, magic mixed with tech and stuff like that. So the themes are really fun for us to explore, and I think that's like one of the things that really drew us to working with Arne, is that like Shovel Knight is very much just like medieval fantasy, and like there's a certain level of wholesomeness that everything has, and like there's no one like really dies. There's no like
Cyber
edge
Shadow
to it.
Cyber Shadow's definitely got an edge. Well, I mean, that game's okay, so Cyber Shadow's been in development for like 9 years or something. It's been like a really long time, and we just saw it on Twitter, right? And it was, as soon as we saw it, we knew it, right? And it was like, oh, why don't we send Arne a email, or whoever made this, why don't we send him an email and be like, can we publish your game, or like, well, let's work together on this. Let's work together to put this out. And so he's like, no. And so we're like, oh, hold on, wait. And so we managed to convince him, and now we've been working together on it for a couple of years, and we've gotten to know Arne and been to shows together, and the game has continued to improve and get even more good. And it just hits that Ninja Gaiden. It's like Contra. It feels like Contra. The game is stage based.
Nice.
It's stage based, but you could like go back, I think, and go get your
you can go back with previous upgrades and stuff.
But it's more like a linear game. And you get a bunch of ninja upgrades, and you fight a bunch of really crazy bosses. Too. There's like a very involved story, much like Ninja Gaiden, but it's more modern.
I think this one's much more in the forefront, though, right? Like you're interacting with things that like tell you story. You're finding like the whispers of dead bodies, and then you can like kind of hear their last final thoughts or whatever. So the way that it's panning out is that like we just had a story meeting like yesterday or 2 days ago for it, and like it's becoming much more coherent as a narrative and stuff. And so like at first it was like a collection of ideas, and like this is going to happen over here, we didn't know how to string it together. And so now we kind of like have worked with Arne to like create the narrative threads, and like adding little visuals every now and then, cutscenes, etc., to make things like actually work. And
it's just so cool.
Was this originally a one man like development team?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
And and someone doing the music. So it was like the game was like very it was like so much of it was already there before we even came. I don't want to say that we're kind of like helping get him across the finish line and helping out with some levels, helping with the script, but it's like really his baby, and it's like coming out so good. It's just like it's cool because we I think like Woz was saying, it's like it's the other side of the coin of like these NES style games. It's like the kind of game that we might have made, but it's like there it is existing already, that like someone else already
Right,
did it.
yeah. Like
Let's bring them in. Let's
if
like
we had
bring
like
them all
felt
in.
like more edgy that day, way back when we were thinking of like Mega Man, like instead of like going the Mega Man route, if we gone the Ninja Gaiden route, like
Right.
this feels like very much in our blood. So
Yeah. Or like the Messenger is like
yeah.
the same. It's like the same kind of thing, right? Like when we saw the Messenger, we were already like working on Cyber Shadow, and we were like, you know, somebody's like someone like got to it. Someone got to it first. but I mean, the Messenger is great, and it has a very different tone than Cyber Shadow. So hopefully, both can continue to exist.
Yeah, I think we still have something to say in that.
Oh, it definitely has space to fit, to coexist. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing when that comes out. So that's pretty cool, and also like as for just Yacht Club games in general, like when I think of like retro based games, I mean, it's obviously Yacht Club it's always up there for me when I'm thinking 8-bit. I mean, with your designs, Nick, and everything, it was pretty cool. I know that this might be impossible to answer because this is like kind of future proofing it, but is there some time where you could see like Yacht Club making a game with current base graphics or something away from the pixelated style?
I think definitely the option to go outside of pixels is there, and to like explore other like methods of creating games. I think that it's largely just based on like what our team size is. So like we don't want to ramp up into a 100-person team. You know, we want to keep it down to like 30, and so
30 to do 2 projects.
So
really, and that includes like you know, like business, like office staff, and like the glue kind of people also. So when you talk about the team size on the development side, it's really like teams of 6 or 7 or 8. And that's like, you can't make a big giant game like that. And I mean, once you have, I don't know, we worked at Way Forward on, you know, there were 80 or even like 100 people at some point. Those teams got so big that you needed to have extra layers of management. Like you got to have a manager of a manager.
Of course, yeah.
You got to have so many more meetings to like to just to discuss basic stuff, and you lose a lot of that. I don't know. We like jamming on stuff, right? We're like we're like a band almost as much as like a game developer. So losing that personal feel would just be like pretty unfortunate, I think. Definitely. But I don't know. I just finished The Last of Us 2, and that game sure looks good. But you need like hundreds and hundreds of people to make that kind of thing, right?
It's an army. It's funny with so we streamed it on our Twitch too, and we were there was a guy who was like saying, "Wow, I mean that budget of just the grass grow, that's literally probably like the whole budget of like River City Girls or something." That was could have happened. You know, it's like this is that like those kind of games. I mean, don't get me wrong; those kind of games are amazing, but it is literally an army to make those kind of games.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful and like amazing. And when I'm playing that game, all I could think about, they show the beautiful vista, and I think a lot of people go, "Oh wow, so beautiful," and I just go, "Oh god, that looks like so much work." Like, like oh no, it's so high fidelity, and it's it must have been so hard. Yeah, that's
something I was playing recently. The same thing. It was like, do you guys? Oh, it was Final Fantasy VII, the remake. It was like just walking in the junkyard, and there's like a fully like rendered out car that's like of that time era, perfectly damaged and painted, and it's like, and then you just like run by it. Who's gone? I just walked by like a guy's week's worth of overtime, you know, or like multiple weeks.
It's like that's how you know you're like a game developer. It's like everyone else awes of those kind of things, then you're having literally an anxiety attack.
Yeah, you're looking at yes, definitely.
It's so true. Like this game, like there will never be a sequel to this game. as you walk by, it just like hundreds of thousands of dollars away.
I know, right? Like what? Have y'all touched like Ghost of Tsushima yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. You will love, like, I mean, like the flow of it is like the colors, the like the wind blowing, all that stuff is like, I won't say it's as good as Last of Us Part 2. There's no way, but I will say that just the way that the textures and like, you know, everything that they're doing in that just fits just as crazy.
Yeah, what I've seen online and stuff, it looks really pretty.
Yeah, a lot of people in the office, or in the virtual office at least, are playing it.
Oh man. All right, my last question though, like Yacht Club was like was successful of making like Shovel Knight a household name when it comes to creating like a flagship brand character. Like with Shovel Knight, like, you know, traversing multiple games with other devs. Like, I mean, you saw Shovel Knight in like Ukulele, Bloodstained. I mean, even in like Shapes and Beats. I mean, just like you would never expect that to. Really yeah, right. I was surprised about that. Like, I mean, was that initially the original plan of what you were wanting to make Shovel Knight to become, like to make a symbol, like to make it like the symbol of you know, and just gaming in general?
I mean, not the symbol of gaming, but more like, you know, our vision for Shovel Knight was always like as a franchise, or as like a you know, like a Mickey Mouse.
You know, like a big like 80s style like media brand, right? And when you, I don't know, when it's like when we were coming up, they had like Super Mario Bros. Shampoo and Nintendo cereal system,
the
and
showers and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
shower
like
head.
Yeah, like everything, right? And that's like part of falling in love with a brand or a character, is like being able to immerse yourself in it. And so that's what we wanted to do with Shovel Knight, is we wanted to have bed sheets and cereal and a cartoon show and comics and the movie, and you know, Shovel Knight the game is not the only form of Shovel Knight, right? It's like Shovel Knight is like a thing that, at least that we're trying to make larger than just the game.
And that's pretty cool. I mean, because like, I mean, like y'all have done quite, I mean, y'all basically put a pretty good name in yourselves with it. I mean, y'all were like the first like the first amiibo for that's third party, which is incredible. I would say from Nintendo. Yeah, I'm just like, Nintendo could have done Squaresoft, could have done bigger groups, EA, anything, and then they chose like, I mean, they chose y'all, and that's like, wow, that's just like, that's incredible to say.
I bet they asked. But everybody,
I mean, that's a good chip on the shoulder itself. I mean, and like, you know, the assist trophy. If like, I mean, if only it was a playable character, I would be like, oh, this would be amazing. But
I mean, maybe
the assist trophy itself is great. Seeing it out there is great.
Yeah. Well, like, is there a game that you would want to see Shovel Knight, or like, you know, any of the Knights to be in, that's like, you know, like kind of it doesn't necessarily have to be Smash Brothers, but just like, you know, a good like co-op kind of.
I want to see like a really high res version of Shovel Knight, like a Last of Us version of what Shovel Knight is.
Right, real uber detailed.
Like someone like Shovel Knight needs a normal map at one point.
Right. That'd be cool. Yeah. Or how about Spelunky? I want Shovel Knight and Spelunky. Please, Derek, if you're listening, please.
I would love
Mr. Mossmouth.
I would love to see Shovel Knight as a skin from Resident Evil 2 as Tyrant. So he's just, that's who he's being chased. That would be so freaking to see just a giant knight with a shovel coming after you. Oh my god, that'd be great. Oh my god!
We like when Shovel Knight has like when he's huge, like in Bloodstained, he's huge, and what's that fighting
Blade
game?
Strangers.
Blade Strangers, he's like huge. Yeah, that's really good.
That would be perfect.
All different forms of Shovel Knight. You know?
That would be sweet, man. Sean, Nick, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with me about this. It was awesome to talk to you. Is there anything y'all would like to plug before we cut this off?
Anything? I guess just follow us on Twitter if you want to have updates on what we're doing. Any like announcements we'll go through there usually, and our YouTube channel, we put our trailers out and stuff. So if you want to pay attention to what Yacht Club is doing in regards to Shovel Knight, in regards to Shovel Knight Dig, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeons, Cyber Shadow, and the secret unannounced projects that we have in the future,
as well as all our cool new merchandise and stuff that we were trying to keep the merch train going. So there should be some more surprises coming.
Yeah, what's that on your head, Sean?
Oh yeah, right. That's my Shovel Knight embroidered baseball cap with a sports style logo on there. It's looking real smart.
That looks really cool.
I wear this all the time. Morgan Geyer illustrated that.
Yeah, Morgan's he's a concept artist and illustrator. He's great.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's cool, man. I totally forgot about Shovel Knight Dig though. That game, I'm looking forward to that game. That looks really cool.
We have not forgotten about that game. I'm actually looking at a screen for it right here.
Yeah, we got to do a playthrough of it in a couple hours actually.
Oh really? Oh cool. So that'll be great to check out. The idea of puzzle and dungeon mixed like that is like very, very, very cool. Like I'm just like, oh wow.
Definitely. Yeah. There's so much, there's so much weird Shovel Knight stuff coming down the pipe. There's some more surprises and stuff too. So yeah, look forward to that relatively soon, I would say.
Right. All right, Sean, Nick, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And guys, thanks for watching. You can always check us out any more Pop Culture Gem episodes over at our website confreaksandgeeks.com, or just check it out on any podcast services once again. So anyways, this is Davis signing off, and we'll catch y'all next time. Y'all take it easy.